Hey, what is going on, guys? SpikeBeat here, bringing you some Star Wars Battlefront. In today's episode, I'm going to be discussing whether or not you should or should not buy this game when it comes out. Now, for starters, I am personally very biased. I have already pre-ordered this game. I got the, I think it was Walmart was doing it. It's the Han Solo mini fridge with him frozen in carbonite. So, I'm very excited to get this game. Because one, I'll finally have a stinking fridge in my room. So, with that said, I worked very hard. I spent a lot of time playing devil's advocate and building a list of why you shouldn't. So, in the background, just so you know, this is Walker Assault gameplay. This is me using the DH-17 blaster pistol. Personally, not my favorite weapon in the game, but I was determined to use everything. This is a 15-6 playing as the Empire. So, pretty good gameplay in my opinion. Anyways, moving past that. This game, starting with the good, start with the reasons why you should buy it. This game has a fun factor. This game, and I'm going to give you some reasons why I think it might be. One, this is a Star Wars game. The fact that it just has Star Wars in the name is a huge plus for it being a good game. Now, that could be entirely placebo. It could have no actual bearing on it being a good game, other than the fact that we just think it's going to be. So that's a possibility. Personally, I do not think that that is the case. I think that this is a very good game regardless. I think that the only thing being a Star Wars game gets it is it gets that it's got the people coming who are only coming to it because it gets its name out there, I guess is what I want to say. The fact that it is a Star Wars game just gets its name out there. I think that even if it was not Star Wars, it is still a very good game. That's one reason why I think it might have a fun factor. The other one is the fact that this game is very balanced. Now, I didn't say the game modes. What I'm talking about is just one-on-one, you go up against someone with a blaster pistol or a blaster rifle. I'm not quite sure what all is going to be in the game. But you go up against someone else, and you're not going to get melted. Just like instantly you're dead. If you die, it's going to be something that it was 5 or 6 shots. You had a good idea that you were shooting them or you were missing your shots and they were hitting them. It's very balanced gun play wise. Just my opinion. I didn't at any point feel like they shouldn't have killed me in that situation. Looking back on it, it was all stuff. Oh, I was not really behind cover. Oh, I was aiming 5 feet to the right. Stuff like that. Or also kind of just that thing that does this game just have that something? Something that we as gamers can't even put our finger on and say, this is what makes it fun. Personally, for me, I think that this game feels a lot like Modern Warfare 2. Now, granted, I'm not talking about Modern Warfare 2 from the standpoint of that was my first Call of Duty. For me, Modern Warfare 2 is something I went back and played after having played Call of Duty for a while. But it's got that feel. It's got that just, you want to keep playing. You want to play this game out. You want to beat every facet of the game that there is. It's fun to play it. It's not something that, like a lot of, like Call of Duty for me, it's very hard to do live commentaries with because it frustrates me so easily. And that's something I didn't find here. In my first gameplay, which I uploaded a little bit ago, I went 3-6, I think it was. I had other games where I went negative and I couldn't do anything right. I was still having fun during all those games. I was never at any point really upset to the point of throwing stuff or yelling. So that's one thing I think going great for this game. Getting out, fun factor was first point. Getting into the second one, and this one is very superficial. I know. I'm very aware of it. The graphics are awesome. Just look at that snow. Plus, if you actually, like if you're running with your gun, over time, you will get snow on your gun that it didn't have when you first started. That, I think, is awesome. The other thing that is really stinking cool is, and this is something that I know all the other games at the time or of right now have it, but being someone who most of the games I used to play are all kind of old. Yeah, I know. Look at that. Look at my feet. You can look down, you can see your own feet, which is stinking awesome. But you can also make footprints. If you look down, you can see where you walked. That's awesome. And this is something I didn't do in this gameplay because I actually didn't remember that I could do it. You can go first person in a TIE fighter. That's a dream come true. Same with the snow speeder. You can get inside and you can act like you're the pilot. That is awesome. Graphics wise, it all looks exactly the way you feel like it should. When you're growing up and you're sitting there, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to fly a TIE fighter. People just look at you weird, but this game finally gives you the chance to do that, which I think is just awesome. And that kind of, I think, leads into the next thing of this game. The graphics look great, but it still feels old school. It still feels like the graphics, like they just made them better. They didn't try to change the way anything looks. Everything looks like it should. It's still got that old school kind of, just that old like Battlefront feel. The way the graphics are done, which is awesome. The way that they incorporated the old school aspects from the original Star Wars video games into this is amazing. But on top of that, the other thing about the graphics that I think is amazing, they didn't try to change it. They didn't try to make this EA's thing. They took it and they made it feel like you're sitting there on the set of The Empire Strikes Back. And they just handed you a gun and said, get out there. Go. Whether you're the Empire coming in with the AT-ATs and just marching on Rebel base, or you're actually in Echo base and you are sitting there scared to death, there's Imperial walkers coming, and you go jump on the front lines. It is an amazing... It looks right, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. So that is a huge plus for me personally. The other one, and this one kind of goes back into that fun factor, you don't feel as angry. And this one I'm going to be real short on. There's no melty kills where you get shot what's actually on their screen 3 times, but to you it's just instant. They all register at once. There's none of that. Every kill is quite a few shots. I mean, just guessing. I haven't counted, or I haven't done any of the stats on any of the weapons yet. I'll do that when the game actually comes out and do videos on that. There's none. It's at least 5 plus shots for each weapon, and that's only if you're accurate. If you're a crappy shot like I was this entire game, you're probably looking more. You're taking a good... I probably averaged like 20 shots on each individual. Even with that cycler rifle, it took me a couple of shots, which that's something I hope to get better at. But, and there's also another thing about the not getting bad kills. There's none of that, how especially in Call of Duty, which most of my experience is with Call of Duty, but there's none of that you run around a corner and drop dead. You actually, if they're shooting you, when their bullet hits, you die. It doesn't have that, I guess that frustrating feel of, I shouldn't have died there. So, that's kind of one thing. Summing it up, this game has a very good feel. It feels very good to be in it playing it, which is a huge plus for this game, I think. The other thing about it, and I'm putting this as a positive thing because I hope it is a positive thing, but it could just as easily be negative. We haven't seen a whole lot. And totally just looking at, we have not seen much. And I hope this is one of those things where they're just sitting there and they have this like whole entire like 95% of the game. They're like, we only showed them 5% in the beta, and we just can't wait for them to get that other 95%. I hope that's what this is going to be, and that it's not going to be one of those, well, we showed them 70% of the game and they seem really excited, this should be a good game. I hope that is not the case, and if anyone with any say is sitting out there watching this by some happenstance, please know now that you have a month to change that. Now, at this point in the video, since I've spent 10.5 minutes talking about it, I feel like I should go into the reasons why you shouldn't. Number one, the game definitely still needs work. In my opinion, I think the jetpacks need to be, the time it takes for it to reset needs to be decreased. I think the jetpack should be tied to your jump button, so you double jump to use the jetpack. Totally my opinion. The game definitely needs more guns, I think. I love Titanfall personally, but I know that was one of the things people didn't like about the game, is that there was not a whole lot of weapon variety. I don't want to see Star Wars make that mistake here. Honestly, I'd say 20, 30 guns, that's probably what it'll take to make everyone happy. So whether they have to add more guns to the game, or if they just start finding more guns that were used throughout the movies and just making up what they actually are, I'm okay with that, because that will help add to the longevity, which is kind of, I'll bring that up later. The other thing, the game modes need to be balanced a little bit more. Like here in Walker Assault, they need to either add 2 more uplink stations, I think, decrease the amount of time it takes for the uplinks to work, or third option, make it so that you can always damage the AT-ATs, but it's doing like, what do I even want to say here, probably like 0.1 damage to it every time, or even maybe go lower even, and then when the Y-Wings come in, then you're dealing the regular damage. Those are 3 options there. So with that though, are they putting in too many game modes? Personally, I'm very excited about it, but that could be a problem. If they have 20 game modes, and they only have so many guys working on it, we could have 5 game modes that are awesome, instead of having 20 game modes that are Personally, I don't think this is going to happen, but this is definitely an issue that could happen. Now, finally, longevity. Is this game going to be something that they release a new one every year, like Call of Duty or some of the other games out there? Or is this going to be something that we don't see another one for 2, 3, maybe even 4 years? Oh, that's how long it's going to be before we get the next one. Personally, I prefer the latter, because it builds a sense of, yes, they're finally doing it. It makes you want it more, in my opinion. Also, with having it come out yearly, by the time they're just figuring out how to make this game work, it's going to be time for the next one. So I think having it 2, 3, 4, maybe even more years would make it to where this game would be better in the long run. Now, kind of going off that, because that's a huge topic that we can't even answer. The game's not even out yet. Is this going to be a casual game or a competitive game? Is this going to be something that you see teams competing, and I don't even remember, like MLG Dallas, all those, I don't actually know all the competitions for that. Or is this going to be just solely hanging out with your friends, play a little bit? If they make it competitive, they need to do one thing. Don't do what Call of Duty did and make it to where competitive is playing just a restricted version of the game. Make the regular version the competitive version. Just my opinion on that. Now, the rest of the stuff on my list I'm actually looking at, I'm going to save that for another video here at some point, because it doesn't really fit in with this. So, to end this video, my opinion, definitely I think this game is very much so worth it. I think this is going to be a great game. I think it's going to be very much so worth your time to get it. So, with that, let me know down below. You like it or not? Tune in for more Star Wars Battlefront next time. Thanks for watching, guys.